Okay, in this math review video, we're going to take a look at how to add and subtract integers. And remember, an integer is just a whole number, but it can be not only positive, it can also be negative. And remember in class we learned that we used our number line to learn how to add and subtract integers. And if you remember, we made our little flags. We took our post-it and we made an arrow on the post-it, and then we wrapped it around our pencil to make a little flag. So remember, if you want to do that right now, you can kind of do it at home. Make a little flag with your pencil and a post-it so that you've got an arrow on either side of the flag and you can flip it. Now in this math review video, I don't have the post-it, but I do have this little arrow right here that I will be moving around, and it's kind of hard to see it, but you can see I'm going to flip it. It'll look like this. When I flip it in a different direction, it will look like that. Okay, so I'm going to flip it back to the right, and we'll leave it right there. Okay. Now, let's take a look at some of these problems that you see right here. The first one, obviously, 2 plus 3 is an easy one we can do in our head. But if we looked at the number line, basically how does that work? Well, we would take the arrow, and you want to start on the number that you're starting with. So if we start on 2, you're going to put the arrow on 2, and you're always going to start facing the right. You're always going to start by facing the right. So 2 plus 3. And we remember in class we said every time you see a minus sign or a negative, you're going to flip the direction of your arrow. So if I have 2 plus 3, there's no minus sign, so I'm not going to flip. So 2 plus 3, I'll start at 2, and I will just count up 3. 1, 2, 3, which leaves us at 5. So our answer for that would be 5, which is obviously one you could have done in your head, but that's how it works on a number line. Now, 5 minus 3 is another easy one that we can do in our head. 5 minus 3 is 2, but if we take a look at the number line, this is how we would work it. 5, so we've got our number starting at 5, and we always face to the right. 5 minus, so here's our minus, so we're going to need to flip the direction of our arrow. So now we're going to go in this direction. So now 5 minus 3, and we're going to count 3. 1, 2, 3. So now we're ended up on, where did we end up? We ended up on 2, so our answer would be 2. Get rid of that and put my 2 back here. All right, so let's look at this problem. Now we're going to start getting into the negative numbers. 3 minus 5. Well, first of all, I need to put my arrow. We're going to need to always start facing the right, so I'm going to turn that around, and I need to start on 3. So we're going to move that over. We're going to start it on 3. 3 minus, remember, every time I see a minus sign, we're going to flip the direction. 3 minus 5. Now I'm going to count 5 in the direction that the arrow is facing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where did we end up on? We ended up on negative 2. So our answer is negative 2. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. How about this next one? Negative 2 plus negative 2. Okay, well, we need to always start on the number we're talking about, negative 2. So we're going to start there, and I need to always put my arrow facing to the right. So negative 2 plus negative 2. Remember, every time you see a negative sign, flip the direction of your arrow. So negative 2 plus, don't flip, negative, flip, 2. So now we'll just count 2. 1, 2. Where did we end up on? We ended up on negative 4. So negative 2 plus negative 2 is negative 4. All right, and in our last problem, we got a lot of negatives here, which means we're going to do a lot of flipping. A lot of negatives, a lot of flipping. Well, we're going to start, remember, always start facing the right, and our first number is negative 1. Now, this doesn't mean if you don't flip on the first one, this just means you're going to start at negative 1. So let's put our arrow on negative 1. Negative 1 minus negative 6. Negative 1 minus, flip, whoops, negative, that means, whoops, flip. Oh, sorry about that. We need to so it was -1, minus, flip, negative, flip back, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we ended up on 5. So -1 minus -6 is 5. And you can remember the shortcut. Whenever you see two negatives next to each other, it's the same thing as a positive. Two negatives in a row equals a positive. So this is really -1 plus 6, which would give you 5.